Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we dive into the juicy details of corporate filings and uncover the real story behind the numbers. Often with a little smirk, because sometimes the truth is way more interesting than the press release get ready, because Quantum Corporation's latest proxy statement is quite the roller coaster. It is a story about debt big financial man. You've as a new CEO coming out of retirement and a whole lot of shareholder votes that could shape the company's future before we dive deep into Quantum Corporation. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our future corporate breakdowns. And hey, if you love getting straight to the point insights from complex documents, our Discord community is the place to be linked in the description below. So what is this document all about? Well, it is Quantum's official request to its shareholders asking for their permission to do some pretty significant things at their annual meeting taking place. In December 2025, the company needs your vote on several key proposals that are crucial for its survival and its future plans. First up, we have messages from the top Hugo Meredith, the new president and CEO, explains why he came out of retirement. To lead Quantum, he talks about his long history with the company and his passion for its products, and people he genuinely believes Quantum is poised for growth and needs shareholder support to get there. Then we hear from Don Jaworski, the chairman of the board, he EC. Hose Meredith's enthusiasm and highlights the significant changes the company has made in fiscal years 2025 and 2026. They've restructured their debt, revamped product strategies, and brought in a new executive team. He stresses that your vote on these proposals is a critical step in Quantum's transformation. The meeting itself is a virtual event on the 16th of December 2025, and shareholders are invited to attend, but they have to pre-register. It's not just a social gathering, though. They are voting on 8 important proposals, including electing directors, approving the issuance of convertible notes, and dealing with warrants and incentive plans. All of this points to a company navigating some complex financial waters. Let's talk about the people who are leading the charge. The filing introduces us to the nominees for the board of directors. Donald J. Jaworski is one of them, an independent director with a background in technology companies like NetApp and Brocade. He brings a wealth of product development and marketing experience. Then there is Hugo Meredith himself, the president and chief executive officer also. Nominee, his deep understanding of data storage technology from his time at Dell Technologies Capital and Juniper Networks makes him a valuable asset given he is now leading the company. Joe Emily White, another independent director. Nominee brings expertise in data and analytics from her roles at Cisco Systems and Nike Inc. John R. Tracy, an independent. Director chaired the audit committee and has extensive financial planning and operations experience from his time as CFO at Verifone Systems. John Afikthorn, independent director. Nominee is a familiar face, having served on the board before. He brings significant experience in managing investment firms and shareholder activism. AMC Clancy, independent director. Nominee has a strong background in global sales for data protection solutions at Dell Technologies, and Tony J. Blevins, independent director. Nominee adds valuable supply chain leadership and strategy experience from his long tenure at Apple Incorporated. These directors are not just figureheads. The board met a considerable 34 times in fiscal 2025, a sign of active oversight. Quantum emphasizes its commitment to independent board leadership. With most of its directors being independent as defined by NASDAQ standards, they have also separated the roles of board chair and CEO, with Donald Jaworski taking the chair position and Hugo Meredith leading as CEO. This separation signals a move towards stronger corporate governance and accountability. The audit committee plays a crucial role in overseeing the company's financial reporting and internal controls. They've been busy with 10 meetings in fiscal 2025 and have been actively involved in the restatement of certain financial statements for fiscal years 2024 and 2025. This shows the audit committee is really focused on ENSU, ring accuracy and transparency in their financial reporting. Now, for the first big proposal election of directors, 7 nominees are up for election, and the board recommends a vote for each of them. This is an uncontested election, meaning each nominee needs a majority of votes cast to be elected. The important thing here is that shareholders can cumulate their votes, which allows them to rate all their votes on one or a few nominees if they wish. This is where things get really interesting. Proposals 2 and 3 deal with issuing senior secured convertible notes. In simpler terms, Quantum is planning to swap some of its existing debt held by lenders like Dialectic Technology SPV, LLC for these new convertible notes. This is a move to restructure their debt and improve their balance sheet, especially since they have had to get waivers from lenders for past covenant breaches. This is a critical step because without it, the company might not be able to continue as a going concern by August 2026. The notes will mature 3 years from issuance with a 10% interest rate payable in kind, meaning not with cash, but with more debt. Basically, it is a way to manage cash flow while still addressing the debt problem. The conversion price is set at $10. Purse hair with some adjustments, which could mean Dialectic ends up owning a substantial chunk of Quantum stock, potentially up to 38.1% immediately after the exchange, if both the notes in a warrant are fully converted and exercised. Now, a crucial detail here is that John Fickthorne, a director on the board, is also the managing partner of Dialectic Capital Management, which is an investment advisor to Dialectic. This creates a related party transaction that the board's special committee and audit committee had to approve, ensuring fairness to shareholders. The board, with Fickthorne abstaining, voted to approve these proposals because they believe it is crucial for the company's financial health and future. Proposal 4 is tied closely to Proposals 2 and 3. It deals with a forbearance warrant issued to Dialectic. As part of the debt restructuring, this warrant gives Dialectic the right to buy shares of Quantum stock at a specific price over time anti. Dilution provisions can kick in, meaning if Quantum issues more stock at a lower price, the warrant's terms might adjust to protect Dialectic. This proposal asks shareholders to approve the potential issuance of more shares under this warrant if those anti-dilution adjustments happen. This could also lead to Dialectic holding even more of the company, potentially over 50% of the outstanding shares, if all these securities are exercised and converted. The company recommends you vote for this proposal despite the potential dilution because they believe it is necessary for financial stability and operational flexibility. Without shareholder approval, the company might violate NASDAQ listing rules, impacting its ability to trade on the exchange. Moving on to Proposal 5. This one is about increasing the number of shares available under Quantum's 2023 long term incentive plan. They want to add an extra 1.4 million shares to allow for future equity grants. This is seen as vital for attracting and retaining talented employees, especially with all the recent executive changes. They also want to remove individual award limits to give them more flexibility in rewarding performance. As of the 7th of October 2025, only about 358,000 shares were left available for grants, but they already promised about 425,000 shares to new hires and promoted employees. So this increase is needed to fulfill those commitments and to have enough shares to compete for talent in the market. Without this approval, they might not be able to offer competitive compensation packages, which could lead to retention issues. Proposal 6 is a non-binding advisory vote on executive compensation. It is like a shareholder's chance to say yay or nay on how the top executives are paid. The company highlights its pay for performance philosophy and wants shareholders to approve the compensation detailed in the proxy statement. While this vote is not binding, it is important for the board to understand shareholder sentiment about executive pay, and they say they will consider the results when making future compensation decisions. Proposal 7 is to ratify the appointment of Conresnick LLP as Quantum's independent registered public accounting firm for fiscal 2026. They are asking shareholders to approve this choice as a matter of good corporate governance. It's worth noting that Grant Thornton LLP was their auditor for fiscal 2025 and 2024. Looking at the fees paid to Grant Thornton LLP for fiscal 2025, they were around $3.7 million for audit fees. These fees cover the audit of the annual financial statements and the review of quarterly ones. The company also paid a significant amount for auditing services in fiscal 2024, totaling about $3.3 million. Finally, Proposal 8 is pretty straightforward. It asks for shareholder approval to adjourn the annual meeting if necessary. For example, if they don't get enough votes to approve the key proposals like the convertible notes issuance, they might need more time to solicit additional proxies. This is basically a backup plan to ensure they can get the necessary app. Rovals. Now let's peek at the financials and see how pay stacks up against performance. The pay versus performance table is a really interesting snapshot. We see that compensation actually paid to the CEO in fiscal 2025 was about $2.2 million. This is significantly higher than the summary compensation table. Total of $1.5 million. This difference is mostly due to adjustments related to the fair value of stock awards and changes in those values over time for the average non. Payo Neo's, that is the principal executive officer compensation, actually paid averaged around $1.5 million in fiscal 2025, a good jump from the $355,000 average in fiscal 2024. This suggests that while the company's overall performance might be rocky, executive compensation is still being adjusted upwards, especially with equity awards. Let's zero in on a few key numbers from the summary compensation table for fiscal 2025. James J. Lerner, the former president and CEO, received a total compensation of $1.5 million. This included a substantial salary bonus and stock awards. Kenneth P. Ginella, their former chief financial and operating officer. also had a total compensation of over $1 million. Ambrian E. Cabrera, the former chief administrative officer, also saw total compensation close to $1 million. The outstanding equity awards table shows that as of the 31st of March 2025, these executives held a significant number of unvested restricted stock units and performance. Based restricted stock units for Mr. Lerner, for example, there were over 50,000 unvested units with a market value exceeding $700,000. This shows a strong incentive for them to stay with the company, particularly as it navigates its financial restructuring. The security ownership table tells us that Dialectic Technology SPV LLC holds about 16.5% of the company's outstanding shares. This is a direct result of the warrants and potential convertible notes that is a significant stake, and shows Dialectic's considerable influence. John Fickthorne, the director, is also indirectly linked to this holding the current directors and execute. ViV officers as a group hold a much smaller percentage, around 1.2%. This highlights the control Dialectic has gained through these financial arrangements. Now looking at Quantum Corporation's situation, it is clear they are in a major turnaround effort. They are dealing with significant debt and have had to make complex financial arrangements to stay afloat. The new leadership is Tick and the board is actively involved in trying to steer the company towards stability. The approval of the convertible notes and warrant proposals is absolutely critical for their immediate future and to avoid potential defaults. However, the large ownership stake by Dialectic and the potential for further dilution through equity awards raise questions about future shareholder value. While the company is aiming for growth and stability, these financial maneuvers come with risks. The pay for performance aspect is also interesting, with significant equity awards still in place even as some financial targets were not met. Last fiscal year, the jury is still out on whether these strategic moves will pay off in the long run. That is our deep dive into Quantum Corporation's latest proxy state. What do you think about their turnaround strategy and the significant influence of Dialectic? Let us know in the comments if you found this analysis helpful. Smash that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered corporate insights. We also encourage you to join the conversation on our Discord server, link down below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.